Hello, hello, hello. Here we are. Oh my goodness. Oh, took me a couple minutes to get myself together, but hello. Hello and welcome. Yes, we are here. I did it. And welcome you into this space. I welcome you as you come into this space. I welcome you to take some conscious breaths. Know that as you enter this space, hello everyone, as you enter this space, you are coming into a sacred space. And as you enter this space, so does your higher self. As you enter this space, so does your spirit. And I wholeheartedly encourage you to just take a moment for yourself. Place your hand on your heart. Hi, everyone. Place your hand on your heart and take a big breath. I am here. That was a little clunky. Hello, Megan, Topher, Marissa, Cherise, Ariel, Donna, Chandrika. Hello, Patrine. So glad to have you all. Thank you for coming. So welcome to the temple. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. You guys, this is my first time using StreamYard on my own. So forgive me for all of my, how do I get rid of it? That is so funny. Okay, well, welcome. Hi, Brandy, Shannon, Kara. Welcome to the temple. Welcome to your higher selves. Thank you for coming. Hi, Erin. We call upon the presence of the highest consciousness within the realms of the earth and the realms of the cosmos. We welcome them here. To be held in the divine light, we welcome the benevolent teachers and weavers of the divine plan to grace this space today. This is a place where we will witness the work that we talk about, where we can be present for the unfolding of hearts returning to their true medicine. You may be called to this space today because you're seeking connection to yourself, to your divinity, or you are seeking a space where you can truly dive into your inherent perfection. Remember how to heal, to walk the path of love, and participate in restoring the divine plan on earth. Hello, Jessica, Helen, Marissa, Joanne, Judy. Hi. Hi, friends. Thank you for coming. The pollen has really been affecting me. I've been eating so clean and clear, no wheat or dairy. Still they get me. So please excuse my clearing of my throat. I would like to sing one of my hymns. And some of you might be familiar with this one. This is for calling in the divine helpers. he and I, hey me, he and I, hey me, oh wait. Give me a thumbs up that the sound is good and not cutting out while I sing. Thank you, Jessica. I do eat local honey. I'm calling all the masters and messengers of love. I'm calling all the masters and messengers of love who carry the light and sing with joy. We are here to celebrate peace. Who carry the light and sing with joy. We are here to celebrate peace. Away and away, away and away, away and away, away and away. He and I, hey, nay, he and I, hey, nay, he and I, hey, nay, away. He and I, hey, nay, he and I, hey, nay, he and I, hey, nay, away. I'm calling all the angels and messengers of love. I'm calling all the angels and messengers of love who carry the light and sing with joy. We are here to celebrate peace. Who carry the light and sing with joy. We are here to celebrate peace. Away and away, away and away, away and away, away and away. He and I, hey, nay, he and I, hey, nay, he and I, hey, nay, away. He and I, hey, nay, he and I, hey, nay, he and I, hey, nay, away. I'm calling all the ancestors, messengers of love. I'm calling all the ancestors, messengers of love who carry the light and sing with joy. We are here to celebrate peace. Who carry the light and sing with joy. We are here to celebrate peace. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Joanne. Hi, Megan and Summer. Thank you for coming. Here we are. I don't know, Lori. Let's make sure that I'm your favorite, and make sure you favorite me, so that you do see. But Facebook is weird. Who knows? Who knows? Hi, everyone. Welcome to the ancestors, the masters, and the angels that are also here with us today. Your higher selves, your spirits that are also here with us today. I would like to talk about connection and reconnection. So the intention for this space, the intention for this circle, this temple, is for us to reconnect to our divine selves. And, we can have all kinds of conversations. We can talk about the divine until our faces are blue. But if we are not actually actively reaching out, connecting to the divine, calling it in, invigorating the divine within us, then it's all just talk, right? And so my guidance, my motive is to create a space where we are actively connecting to the divine, where we can do that through song. We can do that through meditation. And I also desire to actually have the best thing that comes to my mind is show and tell, but actually doing live healing work in the temple, and doing clearings in the podcast, right? Showing people what somatic communication looks like. What does it look like to connect to your body and actually ask your anxiety what it's trying to tell you, And so as a spiritual alchemist, as a priestess, my life is spirit. My life is connecting to the divine, and not just, I stepped into hypnotherapy because of my fascination with it, and being surrounded by it, with my father receiving it from his colleagues when I was in high school and incredibly depressed, and it changed my life. And when I was in college, there was a little bit of time that I was struggling, and so I went to go see a local hypnotherapist who was not a colleague of my father's, and who did not work with the divine light. And that's the difference, is that the protocols, the work that my father does, he's a reverend. He's actually more than a reverend, but he doesn't tell people that. um, 'Cause it's a secret, or order. But, there's this need for regression work to include the divine. And so when I went to a regressionist, went to a hypnotherapist who did not have that aspect in their work, the work didn't stick. It didn't feel complete to me. And I told my dad, I said, like, "I like this lady, but she's not doing the work right." Because I knew my father's protocol, at 20 already. I knew how and why it worked, because of the presence of the divine. And certainly, I'm not to bash the process of changing the mind, which hypnosis really does very well. And, of course, the other aspects and purposes of hypnosis. Who here have experienced hypnotherapy, QHHT, or some other brand? I'd love to hear from you what your takeaway was, if you have experienced hypnotherapy with the presence of the divine in it. Yes, I will be bringing Dad on the podcast. It's in the plans. Hi, Tess. Hi, Sharon. Hi, family. So, so there's there are these really important avenues that need to be including divinity. They need to just be including spirit. It doesn't have to be Christ consciousness. It doesn't have to be Jesus. We know that, right? Um, yeah, Shannon. Hi, Jody. Nice to see you. So, being in this place of knowing the protocol and knowing what's missing, like, in while I'm in trance, which was I just remember being like, "This is wrong. This is incorrect." You know? And so, I only saw her a few times, and I think it was helpful for a little bit, but overall it wasn't really that helpful. So who is really my therapist when I need it, when I really need to do that deep work? If I can't do it for myself, I go to my dad, right? But he has also been very, very poignant in saying, you can do this work for yourself on your own. And so that is also a big piece of where I'm at with my teaching, and the way that I teach others is, yes, we're here to, learn how to support other people, and, maybe provide psychic here, readings and clearings, and do this. But if if you're bringing information forward, especially that carries trauma with it, or karma, you have to do something with it. Revealing information is not going to heal the situation. And so that's why I bring that into what I teach, of saying, okay, now that you have this information, these are the steps that you take to heal that situation, right? That's affecting you in this life, in this way. So we're going to be talking about that. And hi, Helen. So glad you're here. Thank you. Um, so with this information, invoking, bringing in the divine into the most mundane places. Like, this is our work as awake and awakening people. we are meant to truly bring our light wherever we go, and sometimes that can be incredibly difficult. I used to work for my stepmother's nonprofit, and we would go into the legislature, and we would sit with senators and representatives and hold space for foster youth to share their stories, right? So we worked with the child welfare departments, counties in the state, and so we worked directly with the youth and with the policymakers, helping to change policy to support youth, especially youth that were aging out of the system that really, really needed support. And so these would be very intense sessions where people are literally sharing their trauma to strangers because they're hoping to impress upon the strangers their experience so that they'll change policy, right? And so I found myself, like, in these meetings holding the heart space massively, and sometimes, because I'm a transmuter, I would just, silently tear up, silently cry, and a lot of people would be tearing up in these conversations because these are horrific stories coming from foster youth. So I recognize that my spirit, my higher self would automatically pillar, right? My heart field and my central channel would just widen, and it would fill the room. And I could feel the expansion, and initially I wasn't doing it intentionally. I was watching it happen. That my heart field was just doing it because it needed to. It needed to envelop everyone in the room. It needed to, especially envelop the youth that was telling their story and help them feel supported, right? Hi, Thomas. Hi, Thomas. Thank you for coming. So, so that is an example of bringing your light, being a light worker wherever you are, and, like, in the most secular of places, right? But the place where it's needed the most. And I tell my husband as well, the place where he's working in a rehab center, like a hospital rehab for post surgeries and stuff, and the vibration is really, really low. And so he's chefing there, and he comes back and his frequency has just, like, freaking dropped. And so I have to, like, cleanse him and remind him about his spiritual hygiene, and just, like, I think you need to clear yourself every day. And I've even cleared the building, right? But there's still just, like, there's so much heaviness when it comes to the medical industry, right? And there's a lot of there's just a lot of crap around that. And in this place that is just not being run well at all, of course, right? And so I keep reminding my lovely husband, you are the light. You are going in there to change the place. You are going in there to see what other people are ignoring and to take care of. And that might even be a patient, which he literally has had to, like, take care of someone because the nurses were just, like, checked out. So wherever you are the light. I'd love to hear in the comments, where are you sharing your light? Where are you out in the mundane, out in the secular world, bringing your divinity, sharing your heart? I I think this is my Sagittarius rising, but when I go to the grocery store, I'm there to share smiles. I'm actually there to connect, and I'm not really quite sure why I have to be this way, but I do. I shop, and when I see people, I go for eye contact and a smile. And if there's something, I'm not afraid to talk to strangers. I strike up conversations all the time. I will be that old lady that won't shut up talking to you. I will. And I'm proud of it as well. So I also see that as as an aspect of bringing my divine light into a place that needs it, you know? Especially Whole Foods, definitely need that. Um, I love that, Megan. Yes. Eye contact and a compliment. It's beautiful summer. And that is um it's such a way, it's such a powerful way to bring in, or not bring in, but bring out someone's light, is to like, I see you. Right? It's I see you. Stellar dragons. That's a cool name, Ashley. You do share your light with your medicines. That's beautiful. Yay. Yeah. And it's really valuable to, we are the light workers, whether you like that phrase or not. But what that means is that we're working with the light. We're carrying the light, and we're working this space, we're working this person, we're working this field of consciousness. And you're absolutely right, Jody. Just by being where we are, and yes, complimenting people and being authentic in our compliments, right? Like, there's when there's like the door greeters at Costco, and they're like, "Oh, I like your da," and it's like, gosh, you're doing that all day long. Like, you're saying hello and being friendly, and doing that all day long. You're sparking some lights. You're sparking some lights, and you can tell when they're tired. You can tell where they're like, "I don't know, I like your shoes." It's like, I think that they're told to compliment people as part of, as part of their welcoming work, right? Yeah. So it is really powerful. And this is how we start to connect. It's like one of the biggest things that ruptured us as a collective during COVID was our separation, right? The isolation. And I know that we are still recovering from this. We are still coming back from, being afraid of each other, and of course I wasn't afraid of shit. So, so it was just like, yeah. I'm here, and I'm going to talk to you. Am I too close? Like, I hope you're not uncomfortable, but if you are, that's your problem. So, we do need to be in this, like, in the presence of repairing what has been broken. Like, let's keep in mind that they say that 6 feet apart, that now Fauci says, "Oh, I just made it up." Right? No, no, you didn't make that up. You knew. You knew that the heart field is about 6 feet in diameter, 6 feet from the person. You knew that. And you knew that if we were to not be in each other's heart fields, that we wouldn't have the connection that humans need, right? So remember that when you're coming into someone else's space, you're entering their heart field, and your heart is going to affect their heart, right? Your energy is going to affect them, whether you say something or not, right? And there's a lot of healing connections that we need to be doing, especially locally, right? And so in this, like, globalist world, that, if it weren't for the internet, we wouldn't really know a whole lot about what's going on collectively, unless we connected to the, to the conscious collective. And by doing that, by connecting to the conscious collective, by connecting to other people, we are allowing the repair to happen inside of us as well as on the land. And so then the more local that we are in connecting, like, going to your local farmers market, like, yay, time for farmers markets again, right? And so going to your local farmers market, going to, yeah, your grocery store, but going to places that are, like not department stores, like going to places where people are congregating and sharing information. And whether that is just like, just having conversation or not, when you enter into these spaces, you are bringing your light with you, and you are repair so here's the thing. I love how I cut myself off. What I have been learning with geomancy, what I have been learning with working with ley lines, working with the dragons and healing ley lines, is that everywhere you go, you are you are sharing your light. And if you can consider that the pillar of your field, right? Your soul cord, right? This pillar goes all the way up. It also goes all the way down to the center of the earth. If you intend that, right? If you are grounding, if you are connecting to the center of the earth, you can affect the ley lines wherever you go. And what that means is that you can actually imbue the earth with healing force, with healing energy, with love by intending it. So if I'm going to go for a walk outside my house, I might intend while I'm walking, okay, I'm going to connect with my dragons. I'm also going to connect with the dragons of the land. And I'm going to call on the elementals to help me to heal the ley lines beneath the ground in my neighborhood. So then I go for a walk. And when I set that intention, I actually have, like, it's kind of hard to explain. I have a feeling in my lower extremities, like in my from my knees and my calves and my feet, they feel different when I set that intention to weave healing in the earth on my walk. Really. So we always have, I love it, Shannon. We always have the ability to share our light, which is infinite, right? To activate other people with our light by sharing heart fields, right? And by lifting other people up just by being our authentic selves. And so we we can really do so much in this world that we're just like, I almost feel like we're just not thinking of it. We're just not, because we're not raised that way. We're not raised to know that life is divine. We're not raised, in schools and in even mostly in our families, to know that we have an energetic grid of our own bodies, or that we are electromagnetic, or or then that is what our aura is and that our aura is actually um scientifically measured and can be controlled by external forces if they wanted to. And so we better have control over our own first and foremost, right? So when we talk about, like, this gosh, just this, what responsibility do you have to your community? What responsibility do you have to the world? It's to repair how we were all raised, by raising the next generation with the information that we weren't given. So that that takes me to, I guess I don't need to wear my headphones because then I'm not listening to anybody. um, I visualize I'm making heart-shaped love bubbles to spread amongst the forest. Oh my gosh, Summer, I love that so much. I love that so much. So my children, I have 3 children, 14, 5, and 3 and 3 quarters. And so the little ones, we have started maybe a week or 2 ago, doing at bedtime, "Okay, Archangel Michael, please give me my protective spacesuit of light to protect me while I'm sleeping." And so then we teach them to just hold their hands out and to recognize, to pay attention to the subtleties because, you know, having ESP means that you are training, right? So when you're training your body to listen, to tune in to the subtleties, we can start with our children, like, okay, we're going to do a thing that is like, feels like pretend, but it's not. It feels like it's pretend, but it's not. So you will feel something come into your hands. Let me know when you feel it, right? And so it's like, okay, oh, I felt something, and it's so fun to see them light up and be like, "Oh, I felt it," and we put one leg on and one arm on and put it on the helmet and everything. And then they feel really good because my son does have vision. He does have clairvoyance. And he tells me when there are entities around, he calls them monsters. And he says, "Mommy, when I close my eyes, I see monsters." I'm like, "Okay, it's time for a clearing." And so now he's 5 and he's learning the clearing script, right? The other day, he's like, "What was that thing, Mommy? Can you say it again?" Like, "Yeah, this is." And so I use his words so that he can, you know, do the thing and feel good about it. So, okay, Archangel Michael, gather up all of the monsters around me, heal them in the light, and return them, you know, to source. And he learned it like really quickly, and he loves it. He loves my Archangel Michael protection song, and like he's already. I'm like, you're my son. You are definitely my son. So that's really exciting to watch him kind of spark and, oh, wow, it's real, right? So let's take a moment right now to connect to Archangel Michael, but especially to I want you to just feel yourself, feel your field. Take some conscious breaths into your heart center. And just sense your energy field around you. And you might see colors, you might sense that there's an edge, you might sense that there's layers here, you might not notice anything at all, and it's all perfect. It's all perfect. And so I welcome you to now turn your attention upwards through your central cord and see your sovereign seal. And so the sovereign seal is above your soul star chakra. It's like, I want to say between like 13 and 20 feet above your body. And this is always here. Your sovereign seal is always here. You're always sovereign. But when we get attachments or when we get energies that get in the way, they get in between us and our sovereign seal. And so that makes us, right, not be sovereign or compromised, right? So these are the words that we use. But the thing is, you're always sovereign. Your sovereign seal is always there. It contains your soul information. It contains your soul signature. You can look up, and I'm very curious to see if you all can see yours and what they look like to you. Um, I could probably draw it, but a lot of them that I've seen are triangles and have, like, intricate patterns, woven in, kind of like Celtic knotting a little bit, and, what I've seen is that the sovereign seals, when people are compromised, there are levels of being compromised. So there are these levels of like, okay, there might be something that is, making you kind of feel severed from your connection. But there might actually be something that is trying to mess with your sovereign seal. And so when I've seen that, I've seen colors that don't look like they belong, right? That are just kind of swimming in the seal. So the reason that I'm talking about this is because I think that it is incredibly valuable for us to have a relationship with our sovereign seal and to be able to, if you have vision, if you're able to see it, then you should look at it. You should know what it looks like. You should, if you can't see it, you should ask your higher self to let you know what it feels like. And it feels like you, it feels like your soul, right? But the importance of knowing what it looks like, knowing what it feels like, is so that you can know and feel when it's not right and when something is wrong. And so what I do to check for sovereignty in myself is I look up. Of course, I have the help of Rumara, and but not everybody has a dragon, highest self to assist them. So what I do is I center myself, breathe into my heart, and I go into my heart center. And from the heart center, I look up. Okay. From the heart center, I look up and when I, and I turn my head like this, but I don't actually have to do that. So, so I go inside the heart center and I look up and I look up through my central channel and I can see my soul star chakra and I can see my sovereign seal above that, which is kind of like bright, platinum, but also kind of just like silvery and it's very intricate and just looks kind of bright and clear. Because I know that I'm clear today, right? So it does. It looks bright, clear, and hi, Wayne. Welcome. And so I want to say that the third um dragon code installation, if you all have been following me, you know that last fall I did these dragon code emanations. And in the third one, we connected to the solar cross and we did this very particular meditation where we went into the temple of the heart and laid down on the altar and looked up at the soul. And so this is kind of, if you've done that, this should be easy for you. But it is, it is a practice, my friend Donna. It is a practice. And so looking up at yourself, looking at your soul from the inside is something that all light workers should really develop for ourselves, because we need to be in charge. We need to, not be handing over our power. This is why I want to teach, people to be able to clear themselves. When we have a hard time clearing ourselves, we definitely, need help and can seek a professional. But and if if you know anything about me and Lara, that we have two different protocols and we do things differently. And and we agree to disagree on some things, especially around SRT. I think it's incredibly important for the client to be present, and that's because that's how I was taught. And I agree, that. And so Lara was taught differently, and she can appreciate the way that she was taught and how it works for her, and it makes sense for that protocol in that way totally makes sense. My protocol is different, and my protocol is empowering. It's truly empowering, and it also helps you to develop your senses, to develop your clairs, so that you can be able to take in the information and see and feel and notice where things are right, where things are wrong. Yeah. So when you are able to connect more and see more and be able to see your field and look up and see your check, can you see your sovereign seal? If you can't see it, maybe you are compromised. Maybe there's something in the way. Can you see your soul star chakra? Okay, all right, I can see that. So going through this place is, really thank you, Ariana. Thank you for coming. Good morning. So it's a step to maintaining sovereignty, is just being able to, let me look. Am I sovereign? Let me see. What does the sovereign seal say? And if the sovereign seal is like acting up, the sovereign seal will communicate to you. That's why I'm saying, like, we want to have a relationship with it. So going to it, right? It, connecting with it. And you can also work with your dragon guides to say, let's go for a ride. I want you to take me to my sovereign seal. If you're having trouble connecting to it, take me to my sovereign seal. I want to know what it looks like. I want to feel it. I want to be with it, right? And so you can do that. You can do that with or without your dragon. I'll say that much. But the dragon is there to help you really interpret the energy, because dragons are really amazing in helping you to understand what energies are, what they mean, right, Megan? Right? So, it's incredibly valuable to develop a way to be able to check in with your, with your sovereign seal. Yeah. Yes. So connecting and reconnecting. So we're connecting to ourselves, we're connecting to our communities, we're connecting to the collective consciousness. So some of you might know who Ashiana Dean is. At the turn of the millennia, or the millennium, I should say, um she was giving really important talks, very valuable talks. One of the things that she said is that it only takes 8% of the collective of humanity to have the 5D, or the fifth strand of DNA, turned on in order for Terra to be activated. Terra, Tara, right? So Terra is the fifth dimensional Earth, right? And so we're in 3D. We have had 2 strands of DNA. Most of us now have 3 strands of DNA activated, but we also need to activate 4, and we need to activate 5 in order to support the ascension, in order to arrive, right? And live and thrive in 5D. And so working with the dragons is really, really, um, it's just so valuable because they work with the DNA. They heal DNA. So I actually haven't checked in with myself to ask how many strands of my DNA have activated, but it was a long time ago when I activated the third. It was actually, like, I want to say 2012, 2011, 2012, something like that. And for not, nope, it was 2009. Yep, it was Barbara Handclough. Got it. Thank you. So we can work with our dragons to help us to heal our DNA and to turn on the next layers. And now, isn't it amazing to even just think of this prospect that, wait, so ascension means DNA activation. Wait. So, if we are in the third dimension and we're solidly here, we should have our third strand activated. Okay. And so then that means that when we connect to these higher dimensions, doesn't mean that we're necessarily turning on those strands of DNA, but we're accessing them. So when we travel into the heart temple, which we'll do here, and we'll do here plenty, um, when we travel into the temple of the heart, we're automatically in 5-6D, because the heart is in 5D. It just is. The true heart field is not in the physical realm, right? It is in this higher grace, right? This higher love frequency. It's not going to go below love because it's the heart, right? So when you go into the temple, this is actually the place where we can um, travel further, go up into higher dimensions. And when I work with my students and we do initiations, and especially the final initiation at the end of the mentorship, we're going into the ninth dimension because that's where the Temple of Isis is. That's what we have to do. And so then you get to experience that. And if you haven't read Barbara Hand Clow, I really recommend it. If you are interested in multidimensional travel or expansion, she's it. She's the one. Is our higher self physically in the astral, or is it just like an orb? So no, the astral is not physical. So it's kind of I would try asking try reframing that question, because the astral is not physical. It would be, the higher self is much more than an orb as well. So if you can think that your higher self is residing in 12th and 13th dimensions, okay? So it's just like an orb is more of a fourth dimensional energetic, right? So, just our higher self form. Oh, right. I understand what you're saying. And so, Helen, to answer your question, so I connected with my highest self is in the form of dragon. And there are a lot of us whose higher selves are really in these massive forms. Some are unicorns, some are pegasi, some are, there's actually like this one form that I am not familiar with. I've never seen it before. I couldn't name it if I tried. But it it's kind of like this roundish nebulous bob with a funny face. And it's a multi-dimensional being. I don't know what it is, and it kind of has tendrils, so it kind of makes me think of an octopus, but it's not. It's something else, and it's a high vibrational being, and it's just something that we don't have here on Earth. So it's not, it didn't ever come down into the density for us to see it, and so I can only see it in the astral. But my dragon came to me as an answer to a prayer, to ask for more capacity in my life, to basically to take my work to the next level so that I could support my family more. And within a minute, say less than 2 minutes, I was in full mediumship with this being, and I was initially, yeah, Kara. Why am I saying Kara? It's Kara, right? It wa I mean, I know how to say her name, but it's always like Tara and Tara and Kara and Kara. I'm always like, "Please tell me, is it Kara or Kara? Do we care or are you a car?" I love you. Um, yeah, immediately ask and you shall receive. So I had to kind of force myself out of the experience to say, "Is this supposed to be happening? Hello?" And higher self was yes. I grabbed my dowsing rods. Everything was just like, yes, 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 go with it. And then and then so once it was kind of over, she was calibrating me, moving my body all over the place, calibrating my energy. Kara lot. I love it. Thank you, Kara. And so we so we had a conversation and I was like, "What the fuck? Who are you?" She said, "I'm your higher self and I'm a dragon." And I didn't really know what to do. I was totally blown, totally mind blown. And then it wasn't until 2 months later in France that she fully came in, fully activated, because I was ready and I was also in a place of leveling up in my leadership, with that group. Um, so it's amazing. So I've, really integrated her, and now every Thursdays at 2 o'clock Eastern, we have a circle with Rumara. Her name is Rumara. And we have a circle with her and she answers questions and she does healings, and she has taught me a lot of this stuff. I didn't even see the sovereign seal until I was looking through her eyes. And I was like, "What's that?" She's like, "Oh, that's your sovereign seal." I'm like, "Oh, why doesn't anybody else talk about the sovereign seal?" She's like, "Because nobody knows about it." What do you mean nobody knows about it? Well, they're not looking for it. They're not looking for it. So, and she was the one also to first say, "You're always sovereign. Your sovereign seal cannot be removed. It's like your foot. It can't it can't be removed." So, it can be changed, it can be affected, right? Like, you can hurt your foot, right? And it can be healed. And so at the same time, we can also work with the DNA. The dragons, all dragons work with DNA. All dragons work with the elements. And so in my experience, I watch her when she's working on someone. I watch her say, "Okay," like she'll read your she'll read your DNA, she'll read your matrix, and she'll see where you might have a malfunction, right, in your DNA, or where you need something to be turned on or even changed. And so that's incredibly fascinating. So we have, this new ways of kind of looking at what does ascension mean. It means that we have to be, it's not just raising our frequency, it's activating our DNA. It's actually working with the body, purifying, clarifying, doing all of the things that we need to do in order to make our bodies, our fields, and our environment safe enough for us to hold these activations, hold these frequencies. I can imagine that having the fourth strand of DNA activated is a huge ESP activator, right? You're going to have access or awareness, more awareness of the astral, of the invisible field. And so that's gonna change things. For some reason, I feel like just by saying that, I'm pretty sure my fourth my fourth strand has been activated. It's also that if you have a dragon gate that affects your other side of the body very heavily. I feel I have a golden dragon on my left side, but that is a little heavy. Frequency that 3D money is too tense. That's interesting. It's a very good question. I'm I would guess, why is the dragon only on one side? That's like my question, because uh, dragons, um especially dragon guides, they come and go. They're busy. They have lots to do. They can be with you all the time if you want, but they have a lot. And I guess I would say, like, why is your dragon only on one side? And and maybe it's because there's something that needs to be healed on that side. um I mean, it's a really interesting question. I would actually bring that question to Ramara. Um, but what I hear, like, from that is that the left side needs help, and that's why the dragon is on that side or comes to that side, is to help you with your symptoms. Um, I would recommend coming to the Rumara Circle. Today, the Rumara Circle is kind of open. So, and if you feel called, if you would like to join the Rumara Circle and you don't normally send me a message, you can join my Patreon for free. Let me put my link up. Whoops. What did I just do? Meow. Oh gosh, this is difficult. Patreon. Yeah, so you can join just my free membership. There are levels that you can join, and you can come in and be with us every week, um on Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern, and that is 7? What time is it in the UK? I'm constantly having to, like, do time differences in my head to communicate. Um, so we do that every Thursday, and you can join us for $11 a month. On Tuesdays, I also have a singing circle at 5 p.m. on Eastern, and here we are now. So this has been a lovely little chat with you all. I'm really looking forward to so much more. Thank you for joining me today. And I'm, really excited for the conversations, the guests that we're going to have, the joy that we're going to share, the practices that we're going to practice and develop for ourselves, and all of the skills and tools that we're going to remember here in the temple. So thank you. Thank you all. Thank you for being here. And hmm. So we're going to just end with a small blessing. I am going to bring on my dad. You're the second person to say so, Ariana. I certainly will. So we're going to end with a blessing and release the energies that we have called into this place. Holy Divine Creator, thank you so much, especially Divine Mother Sophia. Thank you for empowering us. Thank you for watching over us. Thank you for guiding us. We welcome your blessings upon us at this time. Afal arke di makotoi, alharke di makasianta kotosho kosafatia makatai, afal harakatianto. You matai. Thank you. Thank you to all of the divine beings. Thank you to the temple herself, helping us to remember all that we are, all that we have been, and all we are meant to be. Thank you so much. We release you all. Stay if you will, go if you must. Until next time, we will see you again next week. Thank you all so much. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.